Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Apex Racing TV's coverage of the IMSA Sportscar Championship here at the Imola GP circuit. My name's Scott Newton, and alongside me tonight is Daniel Leet. Daniel, Imola being one of those notorious circuits on the calendar, what are your expectations for tonight's race?
Yeah, good evening, Scott, and all the viewers tuning in to watch this great race here on IMSA. Yeah, I think we're in for a real treat. Imola brings up a lot of great racing and some really good overtaking opportunities, especially through a couple of the key chicanes, Tamburello and Variante Alto. So look for some guys to make some pretty big moves, but looks like we've got really good participation out there from everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though the participation was slightly lower than Spa last week, still 53 drivers taking to this split with 27 in this particular event. And having a look at the splits between all of the classes today, certainly a bigger Daytona prototype field, which is always great to see.
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing we've been sort of really wanting to see heat up over the last few weeks. Blake's kind of done it solo pretty much for the geodesic crew, so it's good to see a few more guys. We've got a total of 5 running the DPI tonight, so that should make it pretty interesting to see how Blake does.
Yeah, absolutely. Just currently got qualifying going at the moment. Just waiting for all of the drivers to put in their times. They're all on their out laps or their first lap. So see that probably the furthest in the field at the moment is Peter Winkler in the Ferrari GT3. He's coming around the second Ravazza right now, and onto the front straight. See what kind of a banker lap he can put in. Coming across the line now, 40.1. Harriman and the Daytona prototype in 37.6. So that's a fairly strong lap. But as I say, that Blake Neck putting in a time that's good 2.1 seconds quicker. So certainly a bit of work to do for those DPI drivers, but certainly something that isn't beatable. Sorry, isn't unbeatable.
Yeah, exactly. I think Blake, for what he does in this series at the moment, is probably the class act to sort of follow. So the guys have got a bit of work to catch up to him. We're looking at times at the moment of about 2.5 seconds off the pace. So plenty of time out on track for the guys to find it and get up there. But the GTE category at the moment too, looking quite good. We've got Jackson Susan Harlow's just gone out, I believe, on the quickest time of 1:38.8. So they're not mucking around either in the GTE cars.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll only put in one lap. He's brought it back to the pit lane. So just looking at the GT3 field at the moment, quickest person at the moment is Dave Cameron. Time for him 1:41.94. So fairly solid lap time for Cameron. But also that Letchford's about just over half a second to 6/10 back. So we'll see whether he can improve. He was one of those guys that was right up the front, especially at Monza last week, given the Audi of Fraser Williamson and Timu Toika as well. Two of those were teammates. So
yeah, and the GT3 category brings up it's very good competition. It's a well-rounded car, and iRacing, a lot of participation from the guys that run that series just on the GT3 category alone. So I think that field should be pretty tight, and as the laps sort of go on with qualifying here, we've got 2.5 minutes still on the clock. The guys should be able to bring those times a little closer.
yeah, absolutely. I think Malik Doi, he was a Sebring competitor, if I'm not mistaken, so just waiting for him to put in a time, and as he does, his second lap of 37.0, so it must have been a certain banker for him, because he invalidated his first lap. He just knew that he had to get out towards the front. Jonathan Barbera, he was on, he's completed his 2 laps, so Matthew Allen is currently on his second lap at the moment. Currently in the Porsches. currently sitting, what is that? If I can bring up just the class standings. If I can seem to do that, which I cannot. There we go. He's currently sitting just only 12th, so we'll see whether he can improve on this second lap. 43.2 to beat. And he improves it to a 1 minute 42.4, so decent improvement for him. And still is in 12th, but a solid gain for him.
Yeah, definitely. And still looking at a pretty decent spread on that GTE category, around 4 seconds at the moment. Stellantian coming across the line there, and the Mercedes, we'll see if he gets an improvement on his time. I think this might be an outlap as well that we're watching at the
Okay, yeah, he won't be able to make another lap, given the fact we've only got 28 seconds to go. So, it's a bit of a shame that he invalidated his lap. Would have been interesting to see where he would have placed in the GT3 standings, but having said that, we'll be able to pretty much run through the field. Oh, actually, we've got Phil Letchford at the moment. No, we've just got five seconds to go, so yeah, sadly he won't be able to put in his second lap time. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up qualifying, and Dan, I will get you to take us through the grid.
All right, so starting off pole tonight, Blake Neck for Geodesic Racing with Malik Doig just alongside him. Niels Herman out of third tonight with Tobias Beckman starting in fourth. Karen Maxon is fifth tonight in the fifth of our DPI category. Jackson Harlow takes first in GTE with Miguel Carvello. Just behind him in second, Dali Jankov will be starting third for the GTE category with Dominic Farris behind him. Svel Kolaka will be starting in the 10th spot tonight with Peter Winkler out of 11th. Marcel Garbin will be starting in 12th. In 13th, we've got Jonathan Barbera with James Beloyd in 14th. Diego Perinia and James Mossetti bringing up the 8th row of the grid with Matt Allen and Lemmy Baptiste in 18th. And Marcus Kostenki will be the last of our GTE categories. So GT3, we've got Dave Cameron starting in 20th and first in that category. Phil Litchford in 21st. Manuel Liebig in 22nd. Steen Ledger in 23rd and George Lewis in 24th. So Luke Verne will be in 25th, Matt Arnold in 26th, and Ivanka Stanlin in 27th. So apologies to any of the drivers who I'm pretty sure I butchered a few of the names, but it's a really good field for everyone out there. 27 cars on the grid tonight, and it's going to be very interesting to see how these guys make their way around through the course and how the car setup is to get them through these chicanes.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going to have a quick look at the weather, if I can bring that up. So we've got a ambient temperature of 25 degrees, track temp of 43, so that's going to be pretty challenging for the drivers out there. 13 kilometre hour wind, so not too tricky, but certainly if that does increase, certainly see drivers slipping and sliding around. But as the pace car takes to the pit lane, we're just waiting for Blake to take the green flag, and we'll be off for round number 6, and away we go. So Blake gets a great start from the pole. Harriman sliding back into third place as he takes to the grass for some reason. But yeah, it looks as though that just looking back through the GTE field, looks as though that everyone's sort of... Oh, we've got sorry, a car in the background. That looks like Diogo or... Yeah, Diogo Perenia got together with one of the Porsches, but looking back at the GT3 field as well, looks as though that everyone's pretty much single file. Dave Cameron getting through cleanly through the first corner. See that everyone's pretty much gone single file. Not too many positions changed through the front and the back of the field, but mainly through the GTE field. There's certainly been some positions changed.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the worst that we saw out of that was Diogo with the start there having to run a little wide through the gravel trap in turn 1 there. But everyone will get settled down. They're back into nice single file. We're still riding on here with Phil Litchford. So we saw him out last time at Spa having a good run. Sort of fell away a little bit at the back. So it'd be interesting to see how he's been able to tweak the car and get it set up for the conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going to have a look at back at the front of the GTE field. Dali Jankovic try to put pressure on Jackson Susel and Harlow, but it's actually a little bit further back, so Miguel Carvalho at the moment. So that BMW is more so under the pressure from both, all 3 Ferraris behind. Certainly trying to keep him behind. But as they go up into the Tamburello for the second time this race, the Ferrari of Carvalho is not close enough to make a move, and he'll have to slot back in.
Yeah, good racing all around. Good to see the Ferraris up front. We saw BMW kind of taken the way last time out at Spa there, so great to see some competition with the Ferrari. Jackson looks like he's really starting to streak out that little bit of a gap now over Jankovic, but Carvalho and Farris just following along pretty nicely in behind, probably just weighing up where they can make this pass, but certainly under brakes they seem to be able to close that gap down a little bit more to Jankovic there. Yeah,
absolutely. Pretty much the main overtaking opportunities I would have thought would have been Tamburello into turn 1. If you can get a decent run up into Tozer, which is the hairpin up into second sector, and pretty much into the Ravazza as well. So if you can get a solid run through there, then you'll be pretty much golden to make the overtake. As everyone's still staying single file at the moment. You see that Tobias Beckman has been able to get past Malik Doi. Potentially had a slowdown penalty through either running wide at the Variante Alta, or he makes a bit of a mistake of getting on the power through the second Ravazza. That'll put him under all sorts of pressure from Doi.
Yeah, and Karen Maxson also starting to buy into this battle as well, so not too far behind there as well, but we'll just keep an eye to see how they close up. The following 2 cars, though, in Doi and Maxson, look to have a little bit of front-end damage on them, which may slow them down over the front straight, but shouldn't impede them, I don't think, too much through the corners here.
So I just noticed in that wide shot there that Herman has a bit of rear wing damage as well, just as we see that shot there. So whether there was contact between Herman and Doi, that could have been the catalyst for Beckman to get past and up into 3rd place.
Yeah, definitely, and it doesn't take much with these to cause a bit of issue. A little bit of side-to-side contact could hurt the car a little bit longer, so hopefully now they just settle down into a decent rhythm and can sort of push on. Blake's, as we sort of come to expect from races past, already 5 seconds clear just about on Herman in 2nd place.
Just looking at Carvalho at the moment, battle for 3rd place in the GTE, or sorry, 2nd at the moment. He got really, really close within about 0.2 of a second to Jankovic up into the Variante Alta, but couldn't get close enough. It's going deep.
I was going to say, you really can see it under brakes with how much Carvalho can close up on Jankovic into the Ravazza there. The Ferrari's certainly got it in spades, but Jankovic able to get a little extra drive out of the corners just to maintain that.
So BMW Jankovic going on the defensive. See whether he can go around the outside, but yeah, no, he couldn't pull it off. He touched the grass with the right outside tyres, and yeah, that was just pretty much the end of it. He couldn't pull it up, and it's going to let the Ferrari of Corluca through as well. So bit of a costly error there for Carvalho. and yeah, moves back up. Moves down into the 5th position in GTE.
Yeah, definitely. A very brave move to be attempting it on the outside into Tamburello there. Didn't quite get the brakes right. It sort of went wide. So he's got a lot of work now to catch back up and get past Korluk and Ferris to get back on the back of Jankovic there. So we'll just have to see. Hopefully he hasn't damaged the tyres at all or overheated them too much. I think he got away with it pretty okay, but now he's going to have his work cut out certainly for him to push it back up the front.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking a little bit further back, see that Winkler has moved down. Whether that was a slow down penalty, looks as though that he is losing about a second just in this sector alone to Grabner. So certainly a costly mistake there. If you go slightly wide of the Aqua Minerale corner, especially in these early laps, it's going to be proving quite costly through that middle part of the lap. See that he's lost, still holding about a second gap, so certainly going to be able to close back up hopefully, and move up into the I think that's the 7th position.
Yeah, it also looks like we have got one car in the pits with George Lewis as well from in one of the GT3 category cars. He's just come back out. He had a 4.5 minute stop, so probably some pretty heavy damage on that car for him to be stationary for that long. But yeah, as you say, with Peter Winkler, probably going to want to just take it steady. I mean, for all the drivers out there tonight, with the hot track conditions, they'll just take it steady. They'll probably set the tyre temperatures down a little bit lower to bring them in a little later on in the race, which should help longevity. But yeah, we're going to have that play too with once the pit stops do start, where do they go from there as well?
See that Jonathan Barrera has gone off track. See what happened to him. So it's just coming up into Villeneuve, and we'll see whether he runs wide or clips one of the curbs. Yeah, he just clips the curb and sadly fires it into the wall there, and loses a bunch of positions. He's second to last in GTE at the moment. You just have to wait for most of the field to go through, and he'll safely rejoin back in, or was that Mercedes of Letchford? Almost collects him.
Yeah, it was good to see him wait as long as he did. I think he probably thought he had the clear run there, but Litchford would have been a little bit unsighted into Villeneuve there, so not too bad to get away with it, but it's easy to see with the setup, and it's certainly not the first, won't be the last guy that's caught that little bit of sausage curve and damaged the car.
It's just battle at the moment for 13th, 14th and 15th overall. It's between Morrissey, Baptiste and Kodetska. So 2 Porsches and a Ford GT at the moment. See that Ford running ever so slightly wide and getting a bit squirrely through the middle part of the exit of Villeneuve, but the run that Baptiste got was a great run. Managed to get past Morrissey on the exit of Tosa, and that was certainly not what I expected from Baptiste, and he's
No, not at all.
yeah, put a great move on Morrissey.
Yeah, definitely. Straight up the inside there. Into Toes, a great move. Morrissetti's starting to now come under pressure from Kaniski just behind him in that Ford. So the Porsche's looking a little bit unsettled here. Kaniski is probably going to have a great run down here into Rivasi. He's up close enough on the back of this Porsche, so we'll stick with this battle for now and see what we get from these two.
So the Ford GT goes up the inside and makes a clean move. That'll be for the 9th place, I think, or the 10th place in GTA. So currently up 5 positions is Baptiste and Konitska equally. So those two are the biggest movers of the field in terms of positive positions gained. It's yeah, Barrera sadly has fallen even further behind from where he was. He's only about a tenth behind Letchford, but as I say that, he moves up past Letchford now. So just going to have a look back at its battle for the final podium position in GT3. Sean Ledger is currently sitting in the final podium position in the Mercedes, and Manuel Liebig is putting all sorts of pressure on him in the Audi. So certainly a great mix to see that Audi up there as well. As you were saying last week, that the Audi maybe not so great in the top speed area, but certainly through the middle part of the lap he's going to be all over the back of him.
Yeah, certainly. And Audi looks to have a little bit more compliance through the curbs at the moment as well. See him under brakes, slowly bringing that nose in. Maybe not quite got the traction out of the corner that we're seeing from Ledger just in front, but very, very...
Just as we see a small disconnect there from Ledger. Can be a little bit of a problem, as also we don't see where the driver is for a little bit of time, but luckily he's come back. We'll see what sort of run that Manuel gets out of the Ravazza. Yeah, certainly not closing up as much as I expected. But yeah, that grunt of that Mercedes has certainly proven its worth. There's always Manuel gets all out of shape over the middle curb of Tamburello. And that will make him fall to about 9/10 of a second back to Ledger ahead.
Looks like also Ledger's still having a little bit of issues with server connection as well. We just saw him pop in and out quickly. But Matt Arnold, I mean, we shouldn't discount Matt here either. He's hanging in pretty closely, so could potentially get up with these two very soon and turn this basically into a three-way battle for the final.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking further back in the field, we got a great battle for the final podium position in GTEs at the moment. Corluka going around the outside of Ferraris, but yeah, sadly there's contact, and Corluka gets turned around at the Tamburello. Cavallo has moved back up into fourth. Yeah, apologies, that was for the fourth position rather than the final podium position. But yeah, sadly, Corluka has fallen back into the sixth position at the moment. Grabner's been able to profit from that mistake as well. So we'll see how far Winkler's back. He's about 5 seconds back, so enough for Corluka to slot back into the sixth position, but certainly not what he wanted in this first third of the race.
No, not at all. And it's easy, accident to occur. Corluka trying to pinch back in on the outside there. Didn't leave a lot of room for Carvalho, and Carvalho equally, as tight on the steering as he could get. So a little bit unfortunate that it'll happen, but with Corluka now set his eyes forward on Marcel in the Porsche, and has a lot of work to do to get back up. But we've seen already, Carvalho had that issue earlier on around the outside, ran it off into the dirt. Probably didn't take as much of a penalty as what Corluka's done, but was able to get back up and start challenging for the high podiums.
That's it, yeah. We'll see whether Corluka can get a great run out of the Ravazza. Looks as though he's got a fairly solid run against the Porsche. See if we can go on board in that draft. Certainly looking as though he's got the run, and that Porsche pulling to the right hand side, and I think Corluka's going to go through, which he does. So great move there for Corluka, and he'll find himself back up into fifth position. in GTE.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see Marcel not really push the issue as hard there and just sort of open the door up for Kaluka, but maybe these two can sort of focus on, get them together and push forward again. They've dropped to around 5 seconds or 6 seconds now off the back of Cavallo ahead, so got a lot of work to do to catch back.
Yeah, absolutely. Just going to look at battle in Daytona Prototype at the moment. This will be the battle for second place. Blake next pretty much streaked away at the moment. 12-second gap to the second position of Harriman. Malik Doi about 0.3 of a second back from Tobias Beckman. Unfortunately not close enough at the moment, but I think with that damage on that fourth position car, he's certainly trying to stay with him until the pit stop and see what he can do from there.
Yeah, definitely. I was just going to say, the damage doesn't look to have slowed either of these three down too far. Beckman and Doi seem to be doing pretty consistent lap times, both in the 38.6, so pretty consistent. They're only 2/10 behind, 4/10 behind Herman ahead of them, so the potential they could get up here into second, all things going well, as we see a little bit of lap GTE traffic ahead, but Blake next really streaked away that gap up to 15 seconds now, so Blake's done a runner already.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having a look at the gap over the last 5 laps between Beckman and Doi, and hasn't really get too much. To see that on the 7th lap it blew out to about a second. Whether that was a mistake from Malik, we'll have to potentially check that out a little bit later, but yeah, the gap's pretty much stabilised at about 0.4 of a second. See that they're coming up to GTE traffic now.
Yeah, it doesn't look like we're going to have too much issue with the traffic tonight. The guys seem to be able to get through reasonably well, but I wouldn't be surprised if that bit of a drop in pace that you were alluding to was as a result of some GT3 traffic. There was a little bit behind in the background shots that we saw there, so probably just as these guys start to make their way through the traffic now, we will see those gaps ebb and flow a bit, but all in all, most of the drivers here at the moment pretty eyes open to what's happening around them, and we're not really seeing any issues.
See that Jankovic has taken to the pit lane, which I would have thought was quite early, but given the fact that the pit stop window is opened, just making his way through Phil Letchford, back up into 18th at the moment overall, but the only one that was really challenging for the GTE lead at the moment has been the only one that's taken to the pit lane, so certainly an early stop, but we'll see whether he can get an undercut and close up to Jackson Susan-Harlow.
Yeah, definitely. And it will also give us a good measuring stick too to see how the others go with pit times. Stationary for Jankovic there was 10 seconds, so that was the full pit lane transit, so 10 seconds there to get through, but I would have thought this stop would have been a little bit too early, especially with the high track conditions that the guys are experiencing tonight. You might want to have run those first set of tyres a little bit longer. Maybe they didn't quite get the pressures right, but I would have been expecting to see those pit stops a little bit later on in proceedings.
Yeah, we'll just have a quick look at the weather at the moment. Looks to say that it hasn't changed too much throughout the session. Still 43 degrees track temperature. So, still quite hot out there. But, yeah, still closest battle on track at the moment is between Morrissey and Barrera. Gap at the moment is still about, it was about 0.4 of a second as they were coming through the Aqua Minerale, but has opened up a little bit to about 3/4 of a second.
Yeah, it looks like also the damage that Barrera has on the front of that poor Ferrari, isn't really slowing him down too much. still got quite a lot of gain under brakes there over Morossetti, but this battle's been going on for quite a while.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that Tobias Beckman is also taken to the pit lane as well. So he's come out just ahead of the GT3 leader, Dave Cameron. So probably a tactical move to see whether he can get up to Niels Harriman, but given that 21 minutes has elapsed, certainly not a an early stop to say the least, but probably a little bit earlier than I expected, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. And if anything, it probably worked a little more in his favour, being able to jump out in front of the Mercedes there. If he had been stuck behind him too much, it probably could have impacted proceedings in moving forward with those fresh tyres. He's got a Porsche just up ahead of him here, so should be able to dispatch reasonably easy, I dare say, up through Rivasa. Should be well and truly on the cards here.
Yeah, absolutely. Just give it a little bit of airtime to our leader, Pleknak. Currently sitting 17 seconds in front of Niels Harriman. Just give a bit of an onboard to see how the Daytona prototype reacts around this circuit. Yeah, that's how the prototype certainly looking very, very planted throughout that lap that we were on board with Pleknak. It's pretty much, I would say, why he's opened up the gap to 19 seconds as well. So certainly the times have dropped off a little bit more than I expected, but certainly 37.4 last lap with a personal best of 36.6. So he'll be coming up to his pit stop window fairly soon, within the next 5 minutes or so. So he's got a little bit of GT3 traffic at the moment to see that Letchford's second to the pit lane.
Yeah, and that onboard shot that we took around Imola here with Blake just really goes to show why he is the class of the field. You know, car was very smooth, very consistent. It looks to be getting on and off the curbs quite nicely as well. So doing a great job there, and I guess similar to what we're seeing from Blake at the moment, you know, Jackson doing another great job in the GTLM category as well. We haven't jumped on board with Jackson for a while, but class of the GTLM field at the moment as well, well ahead in the Ferrari car, working exceptionally well right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having a look at the spread of the GTE and GT3 field. We got top 5 at the moment dominated by Ferraris, and then 6th being a Ford GT, then 7th being a Porsche. So a couple of Porsches up in the top 10. Also Barrera in the Ferrari as well. So pretty much the top 10 pretty heavily dominated by Ferrari and Porsche. But it's also good to see that Jankovic moving up into the 10th or 10th position in the BMW as well. So
Yeah, certainly surprised to see the change in car favouritism, especially for the Imola race. Obviously, an Italian track. Great to see Ferrari up the pointy end in the GTLM field, but from what we saw last week out at Spa, primarily dominated by BMW. We're only down to the one sole BMW tonight. So interesting to see the way the drivers are picking and choosing the cars they run in this series based on how they go around track conditions.
See that Barrera's managed to get past. Yeah, he was passed by Jankovic within the last lap, so yeah, Jankovic trying to get the most out of his pit stop. We see that the overall lead is trying to come through right now as well, so he'll move up past Barrera. This time we put a lap on him.
Yeah, let's not forget either too, Barrera hasn't actually taken a pit stop as yet. So Jankovic we saw come in quite early on for his stop, and we thought that might have been a little earlier at the 20-minute mark of the race. But tyre consistency still looks to be pretty good. Looks like Blake cruising up behind, so there should be a change for Blake to get through reasonably easy. But yeah, for what we're seeing with Jankovic, the BMW is certainly looking good on its tyres at the moment.
Just trying to see whether I'm able to bring up a graphic to see where roughly the people will come out.
Do that. It looks like we've also got Baptiste in the pits as well in GTLM, so he's taking his stop now. Who else have we got? We've still got quite a few. Carvello's still, Carvello and Ferrer still going around at the moment. Harlow's still out there also. So guys are running this pit stop strategy right out to the back end of the time allowance by the looks.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks as though that Susan Harlow currently is going to come out roughly between Colucco and Cavallo, so
yeah, I don't think that'll play out too badly for him overall. Given the pace that he's got, should be able to get past those guys pretty quickly. It looks like also Herman and Maxon have come in for their stops in the DPI field as well, so they'll be on their way out of pits pretty soon. But looking at the pace and consistency Jackson's able to generate in this car, he's still around a second a lap quicker than what we're seeing from second and third at this point, so should realistically be able to maintain the lead of the race without too much difficulty, well, in GTLM that is.
yeah, absolutely. I see that Harriman at the moment has coming up to the back of Colucco at the moment, so he'll be looking to get past the GTE, as he was in a battle between Malik and Tobias Beckman, but it looks as though the Beckman's pitted as well, so it's a much slower stop for Beckman, but certainly been able to profit off of that. He's currently sitting second at the moment, so see that Blake might be moving down the timing sheet, but might be having a little bit of a connection issue at the moment.
No, if I saw correctly, it looked like Blake had just come in for his stop also. So Blake's run it right to the end of that window there by the looks, so should be in and out of his stop. And yeah, 7 and 8 second pit stop window and a 20-second transit time. So Blake's done and dusted. Should maintain the lead pretty easily over Doyle. Malik, sorry, behind him, who's also in the lane for his stop.
Let's have a look at Jankovic at the moment. He's on the back of James LeBlanc at the moment. Gap is about 0.3 of a second at the moment, coming up through the Variante Alta. at the top of the circuit. Gets a pretty solid run through the chicane and trying to set up the Ravazza, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. He's not going to send it down the inside. And I think it's better off a bit. LeBlond runs a little bit deep, and that'll prevent the BMW up into, I think, 6th place at the moment. 7th is the Porsche dives into the pit lane.
Yeah, all in all, that turned out to be a pretty easy overtake there for Yankovic with the Porsche running off. So a little bit disappointing for LeBlond there. As you say, he jumped in the pits, but we'll should be able to see Javink now start going up. Who's he chasing now? Kanitska just ahead of him, who hasn't, I don't believe, come in for his stop yet either.
Yeah, Kanitska hasn't taken to the pit lane as of yet. But just looking at Dominic Ferraris. And is that Miguel Cavallo? This is the battle for second position as Ferraris dives into the pit lane, but Cavallo decides to stay out for another lap. So he was able to save that fuel for one more lap. We'll see whether if we can get a rough reference of if Carvalho is able to make it around the next time by, or whether he decides to pit or stay out even longer. But yeah, 32 minutes elapsed already. I think this would be on the upper limit of when the pit stop window will be open.
Yeah, I think it's all in all, it's been a really good recovery from Carvalho after the earlier off. When he had tried to make that move into Tamburello on the outside there and had to run it through the dirties. Come back up quite a long way through the field as a result. Lap time's still looking very consistent. Last time by was a 1:39.9, so the speed of the car not looking too bad. It was actually a touch quicker than what we saw from Jackson Susan Harlow last time by, so certainly got the legs in that car, and if he can extend, be interesting to see what he could do.
Yeah, absolutely. I also see that Karen Maxon has gotten past Malik Doy as well, so that battle for the final batting position in the DP class has certainly hotted up over the last couple of laps. To see that Tobias Beckman is falling a little bit further back. He's just 11 seconds from the next DP driver in the number 7 car. But,
yeah, so we've got both Harlow and Carvalho in for their stops as well now.
See that Dominic Ferraris has just exited the Variante Alta chicane. See that yeah, Cavallo being in the pit lane. He isn't the race leader at the moment, but once he comes out of the pit lane, he'll resume his position. But yeah, Ferraris runs a little bit wide at the second Ravazza, and that might allow Carvalho to get the jump as Carvalho is accelerating, but Ferraris will be approaching at full speed. But yeah, Carvalho gets the jump, and well done to him. He gets promoted up into P2.
Yeah, I don't think this battle will start raging on now. Obviously, as Cavallo comes out, he's got to get those tyre temps back up. But Barris, with the extra lap under his belt, will certainly help him and put him in good stead to start charging at this for second.
Yeah, absolutely. I see that Winkler and Grabno's going side by side into Tamburello, but the Porsche of Marcel has been able to defend the position. That will be for the 7th position in GTE at the moment. So this is pretty much the closest battle, other than Cavallo and Ferrari. So it looks as though that Cavallo either got a slowdown penalty or just run that little bit wide and didn't want to cost himself that slowdown penalty. So there's two Ferraris certainly going at it hammer and tong. We've only got just under 10 minutes to go now, So this battle certainly not going to be ending anytime soon.
No, not at all. I think this run will rage on right the way through to the end of the race here. Good to see too. Looks like we've got Yankovic also starting to work his way back up, still 11 seconds behind these guys at the moment. So, but again, these two are turning it on. A little bit of touch and contact as they go down into Tamborella.
Yeah, so as they go, looks as though that Ferrari's got too much of that inside curb, and yeah, had to park it on the inside there and not allow Carvalho to go through. Certainly, very surprised to see that Dominic took that much curb. Whether he wasn't able to spot where the curb was, or whether he just had to go straight for the fact that we've got no ABS in these GTE cars. But yeah, certainly well defended there.
Yeah, that's right. It looked like he ran a little bit shallow on the way into turn 2 there, which did compromise him, as you say, caught that curb. But great mind by Cavallo behind, just to sort of keep an eye and not repeat that same issue we saw on the outside when he attempted it, although 20 minutes ago, earlier on in the race. But this one will keep raging on. They'll just reset now after Rivasa Idese and then look forward to getting back to it again. They've got a little bit of lap traffic ahead, which they should be able to clear reasonably easily, I dare say. But yeah, this one's certainly going down to the wire.
Just have a look to see whether both of these cars can get through quickly, as Ferrari's has pretty much cleared the Audi ahead of him. See who that is. I think that's Manuel Laibu. So no, that's Matty Arnold. So see if I can get, yeah, there we go. So Carvalho's all the way through now. So that gap has opened up to about 1.1 seconds at this time. So
yeah, it looked like Arnold let both the guys through. Could see they were still going pretty hard for that position. Didn't really need to be a part of it, so smart moving by him to step sideways and let these two continue on it. It looks like another GT3 car ahead. I can't get a read on who that is, but these guys should. It'll be interesting to see if they can close that that gap up.
yeah, just as we saw with that graphic, Carvalho's got a 0.3 of a second better personal best race lap, so he certainly has the pace, but whether he can close up to Dominic ahead will remain to be seen. We've still got about 6 minutes left, so about 3 or 4 laps in the DP plus 1 lap from here.
Yeah, and I'm just keeping an eye on the timings at the moment as well. It looks like Malik Deutsch starting to come under a little bit of pressure too from Karen Maxon for that battle for third. As we talked to him, it looks like that gap sort of edged out a bit, but they were down to half a second, half a lap ago now.
Yeah, it looks as though that Malik was able to open up a half-second gap last time around, so gap at the moment currently at 1.6. So Maxon behind. But yeah, pretty much everyone else is spread out. This is the second closest battle on track, I think, actually. Well, relative to the class, but yeah, the closest battle on track still Carvalho and Ferraris at the moment.
And earlier on, he had a bit of an awkward strategy, which has compromised his race. A little unlucky there, and another DPI down, so that only leaves 4 fighting for position. But yeah, as you say, Carvalho and Ferraris right now certainly starting to heat it up. Ferraris got a little bit extra curb on the way there through Variante Alto, which has opened the door for Cavallo just to duck through.
Yeah, absolutely. You certainly don't want to be taking too much of that second part of the Variante Alto. but that has promoted Carvalho through up into second place. So good job for him. Still 17-second gap to Susan Harlow. Pretty much been the class of the field in the GTEs as well. Haven't really talked much about Dave Cameron at the moment. He's class leader in the GT3 category at the moment. Hasn't put a foot wrong at the moment. See that the it's the prototype of, I think that's Niels Harriman. So he's putting a lap on Cameron as I speak.
Yeah, and similar to what we're seeing from Blake and Jackson, is Dave's been able to open up quite a big lead over Phil Litchford behind. We're up to just short of 23 seconds over him. So class leaders in all three categories tonight, able to extend quite a long way ahead of their nearest.
Yeah, absolutely. See that Barrera trying to get past the GT3 leader of Dave Cameron. But just with that damage, I don't think he'll be able to put the pressure on him. See that he's run a touch wide, but certainly able to gather it up through the Tamburello. I was to see who was that? Is that Niels Harriman? He's crashed out.
Yeah, we'll have to get back and check out a replay of that if we can, but that's a bit of an awkward spot on the exit of Tamburello there to be facing it.
Yeah, absolutely. It just comes through the exit of the Tamburello and just catches the dirt area there and just loops the car, and yeah, sadly he's out of the race, and that was just pretty much slam dunk P2 for him. But yeah, certainly an unfortunate one. He was looking certainly strong for that P2. There's a little bit of a gap to Malik Doy, and yeah, the two behind him, being Niels, have certainly capitalised on that.
Yeah, definitely a little bit unfortunate. Really looking in the bag for that second spot. So a little bit unfortunate there that's occurred. Certainly easy to do, dropping a wheel off on the dirt out of Tamburello there, but they'll be able to get back into it and look forward to Road America, I believe we're heading to next time out. So should be able to regroup there, but we'll jump back up to Blake Neck here. What can we say? 47 seconds up the road currently, and led start to finish all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I've still got just under a minute now of the clock to go, so we'll be on the final lap next time round. He's trying to put a lap on, I would think that's Slaven Koluka at the moment.
Yeah, just in front of them too, you got Yankovic in the BMW, so I don't think Blake will have too much issue sliding that DPI past these two here. And then we've got an Audi a little further up the road as well. But yeah, I've been really impressed tonight with the level of respect that all the drivers have shown out there. We've seen a couple of little incidents from moves around the outside here, but all in all, race tonight's been quite entertaining to watch.
Yeah, certainly. As you say, taking a look at next week, I think, as you say, we are at Road America. See if I can bring up the graphic. Yes, indeed we are. So, yeah, certainly one of the great tracks. So I'm certainly going to have to put into practice for that, given the fact that the next round of Oceanic Endurance Championship is at Road America. So, hopefully, all things being equal, I hope to see some of the competitors are in that series branch out into the official series for next week.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a great stepping stone to be able to come up through the ranks and get accustomed with cars and be able to take them through multiple championships always more rewarding, especially for the time that we know a lot of drivers tend to put in for setup work and getting familiar with a particular car and then changing track combinations. So should be entertaining to see these guys move.
Absolutely. So as Blake Neck comes around the final corner, he'll take round number 6 of the IMSA Sportscar Championship here at Imola. Had a little bit of a pause just to make sure that I got the round number right. So yeah, it is round number 6. See that the GTEs are coming across the line now. So that Yankovic has come across the line in 4th position in GTE, and Koluka's taken to the checkered flag, but yeah, Malik Doi at the moment, currently around the final corner now, has had a solid performance today and will take 2nd place in the GTEs. Karen Maxson, great performance from her to take the final podium position in the Daytona prototypes. Just having a look at Dave Cameron now, he'll take the win in GT3. Fairly dominant performance from him, and thoroughly deserved from him. And yeah, Jackson Susan Harlow, as we've mentioned throughout the broadcast as well, been fairly dominant as well, and he'll take the win in GTE. See whether we got any battles at the moment. See that Morrissey and Letchford are coming up across the line pretty much simultaneously, although in different classes. Carvalho will hold on to 2nd in the GTE field. Ferraris has just run that little bit wide, but yeah, he will take the final podium position in the GTE.
Yeah, and that also looks like Ferris was the last driver home there. Everyone else has made their way across the line.
So taking you through the final standings for round number 6 of the IMSA Sportscar Championship here at Imola. So Blake Neck takes the overall win, and a fairly dominant performance from him, 47 seconds in front of Malik Doi. Karen Maxson rounds out the podium in Daytona prototype. Jackson Susan Harlow takes the win in GTE class. Miguel Carvalho in 2nd. Dominic Ferraris rounds out the podium in 3rd. Yali Yankovic had a strong recovery to take back 4th position. Slaven Koluka takes out the top 5 position in GTE. Marcel Grabner in the 9th position overall. Peter Winkler in the 10th position. Marcus Konitska in 11th. Lamel Jean Baptiste in 12th. James LeBon in 13th. Jonathan Barrera in 14th. Dave Cameron taking the GT3 win and the 15th position. Fairly dominant performance from Dave, and thoroughly deserved. James Morrissey in 16th. Phil Letchford in 2nd place in GT3, and Manuel Liebig in the final podium position for GT3 and 18th overall. Matt Arnold in 19th. Luke Byrne in 20th. Niels Herriman taking the 21st position, and sadly the 4th in the Daytona prototype class after that mistake at the exit of the Tamburello. Tobias Beckman, not exactly sure what happened to him, but yeah, it looks as though that he was not classified at the end of that one. In 22nd, Diogo Perenia. In 23rd, Matthew Allen. In 24th, Steen Ledger. In 25th, Ignacio Santillan. In 26th, and George Lewis. I think only completed 1 lap in this race, so must have had some technical issues at the start of the race that we unfortunately missed.
Yeah, a little disappointing. We're hearing just in the chat as well. Looks like Ferris came up short on fuel, so he was fuel saving right at the back end of the race just to get himself home. So a little bit of entertainment there for him. He was saying 3 litres short, 4 laps to go. So that's why he sort of fell away at the back end of that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've put the if anyone wants to come in for driver interview, just quickly, the link is in the YouTube chat for those wanting to have a driver interview. But yeah, just quickly, whilst that is going on, I will run you through the. Just as I say that, Dominic and Tyler have joined in, so I'm going to bring in Dominic, I think. Welcome to Dominic to the Apex Racing TV booth.
Hello.
Yeah, so it was certainly a fairly interesting battle with yourself and Miguel Carvalho for most of the part of the race. Just tell us a little bit about your race from your perspective.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. The start was a bit hectic, a few crashes in front of me, behind me, and I think once it all sort of cleared out, my real pace started to show. My tyres went off pretty quick. Made a really dumb mistake at the pit stop. Took probably a lap less amount of fuel than I should have, and I realised with about 5 laps to go, and that's why I dropped off a lot. So I only came home with about 0.3 litres of fuel. But I was lucky that Blake caught up to everyone else behind me, so even if I did run out of fuel, I would have been safe.
Yeah, absolutely. With the track temperature being 43 degrees, how were the tyres with that stint there?
Yeah, they got really bad. I mean, the first few laps at the start of the race in qualifying, you had a decent amount of corner grip, but after that it was just skatey, very light. It was really difficult, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. With the pace of Jackson Susan Harlow, did you think that you would be able to catch up to him throughout the race, or was he just too strong?
I know Jackson Susan Harlow from some other stuff, and he's very quick, so I don't think he was going to be on my radar for the race. I was just focusing on having a nice clean race and bringing him a good finish, like a podium, which I did.
Yeah, absolutely. Just coming up to next week being Road America, what are your thoughts heading up into the next round of the championship?
Good, yeah. I've got a few other leagues in Road America, so I'll definitely be giving it a shot next week, and I've had some pretty good results there in the past, so I definitely look forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Were you in the Oceanic Endurance Championship last week at Silverstone?
I definitely was. So next round of that, so I'll definitely be participating.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually on track as well. So yeah, I know your capability, and you certainly showed that today. Hopefully, I'll be able to get one better of you in OEC, but yeah, certainly. Hopefully, be able to see you next week. But before we let you go, is there anyone that you would like to thank?
I'd like to thank my EXG Motorsports, or my team, sponsors NatTrad and Gamers Apparel.
No worries. Well, thanks very much for that, Dominic, and yeah, we certainly hope to see you.
Thanks for the broadcast.
Yeah, no worries. So we certainly hope to see you next week. We've got Tyler Maxton in the waiting area, and hopefully we'll be able to bring him up for an interview, and I'll hand it over to you, Daniel.
G'day, Tyler. Welcome to the Apex commentary booth, mate. Congratulations on the race. It's quite entertaining out there for you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was a good race. A little bit challenging. I haven't raced a DP in probably 3 or 6 months now, and Imola kind of the same way, 3 or 6 months. So I was really learning everything as I went, and definitely picked up the pace towards the end, but at the front, just didn't really have the pace at the beginning.
And how'd you find it out there? Obviously, we saw a couple of guys in the DP category have a few little unfortunate errors and run the car off a bit. With the track conditions the way they were, especially as hot as they were, how did you find being able to manage that throughout?
Yeah, I'm actually able to manage it pretty well. The car setup was definitely better on higher fuel, so I was kind of struggling towards the end of my first stint. So took a little bit more fuel in the pit stops than I probably should have, but was able to make the car feel really, really good at the beginning. Yeah, the track was definitely very, very slick. It's very easy to make mistakes in this car, so that's pretty much what I was trying to minimize.
Yeah, certainly is an easy one to get a few issues, especially through some of the chicane areas. That looked like you found yourself in a pretty decent battle with Malik towards the end there. How were you guys sort of tracking pace-wise overall? It looked pretty tight between.
Yeah, we were very, very close on pace, which made it extremely good battle, but also made it extremely hard because we were very close matched on pace. So if I would make a mistake or he would make a mistake, one of us would easily be able to pounce on the other one. Or if he did make a mistake, he'd lose quite a bit of time to the other person and be really, really hard to catch that back up. But yeah, it was an amazing battle.
Excellent. Well, obviously next week we turn our attention to Road America. So hopefully we'll get to see you back out on track, having a run in the DPI. But before we let you get out of here and enjoy the celebrations for third tonight, we better get a shout out for all the sponsors that are currently on board with the car.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks to you guys here for the broadcast. Thanks to my main team that I race with, Full Sun Racing, and all the guys over there, and also Craig's setup shop for getting me the setup.
Fantastic. Well, again, congratulations on third tonight, and we'll certainly look forward to seeing you back out on track next week at Road America.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, we did see Dave Cameron join the driver interview channel, but yeah, certainly, sadly, he's had to duck off for some reason. But yeah, just if Dave is able to come back, I'll just quickly run you through the upcoming broadcasts up on ApexRacingTV. So we've got the VRS Sprint Series at Lime Rock Park at 14. I think that's 18 GMT, so 1900 BST. Then we've got the BSR MX5 Pro Series starting at 2015 BST tonight, and then tomorrow night will be the final round of the WOD F3 Championship at Alden Park. That'll be at 2015 BST, and then also we have a double header on the Saturday with the Semi-Racers Asia GTE Series at Sebring, and that'll be starting at 11:50 AM GMT. Also, we've got the Euro V8 Supercard Series at Bathurst, which will be quite exciting. So that will be starting at 1800 GMT, 1900 BST. And then on the Monday, we have I think that will be the final round of the WOD GT Championship at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. So, as it is widely known that will be a fairly entertaining race, as well as Spa being a fantastic track. And then also we've got the BSR MX5 Monday Cup at Donington for round number 7. And then also we'll be back for round number 7 of the IMSA Sportscar Championship here on Apex Racing TV on next Tuesday at 10:45 GMT. So, Daniel, closing thoughts here for Imola. Certainly a fairly entertaining race, but yeah, certainly, what were your thoughts for tonight's race, and also heading into to next week as well?
Yeah, look, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think we saw some fantastically dominant displays from our individual class leaders tonight. Great to see some more participation in the DPI. We know Blake's kind of had it pretty easy, so great to see the guys getting up and involved in that. And you know, we saw some great battling for the back of the minor placings in that class. But I think overall, you know, with the track conditions being a little bit hotter than probably what most of the guys maybe expected tonight, all in all, they did a fantastic job. Racing was clean, a couple little opportunistic moves into turn 1 around the outside that didn't quite pay off, but very entertaining for everyone involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that will pretty much wrap up our coverage for round number 6 of the IMSA Sportscar Championship here at Imola. And yeah, my name's been Scott Newton, and on behalf of Daniel Leet, we certainly hope to see you next week for round number 7 of the IMSA Sportscar Championship, and hope you all have a safe week, and we'll certainly look forward to catching you then.